Hi guys, and welcome to Joe's Camera. In this program and the follow-up programs in this playlist, I'm going to discuss the images when you're back in the office, in the studio, and then what do we make of it. The specific genre of the program is, number one is you go and take photos and you're in the bush and you love every experience. That's why we rate our jobs as professional photographers right on top of all jobs when it comes to job satisfaction. So it is a very pleasurable trip. Every time you press the shutter, it is a heavenly experience. So when you do that moment that you capture, you actually capture the emotion of that you actually had during the time that you actually saw, whether it's a cheetah or a leopard or whatever, or a landscape. So that emotion, the higher the emotion and the serotonin and all the good feel hormones are, the better that image is going to feel for you. And a lot of the times you come back from the bush and you look forward to specific images because you really thought those were the images that stand out. And some of them do, but a majority of the images don't really pop up if you have not seen them on the camera. So they're good, but my best photographs actually show themselves on the viewfinder after I've taken the shot, and they were serendipitously good, specifically landscapes and where there's longer exposures involved. But similarly with wildlife, the action is so fast when there's action shots being taken that you can't really see them with a naked eye. And once you look back at the image, then the real satisfaction comes in. So in the old days when we had film, you couldn't look back, and if you spend a month on the bush or a month and a half in the bush, you don't really have an idea. And coming back to the office or to home or the studio has always been one of the better experiences, because that's there where you relive all the images that you've captured. And it's there where the second surprise happens, the surprise when you open the computer and you look at the images and they pop up. So number one, there's a first glance of images. It is the emotion, number one, that you got, or the feeling that was evoked when you looked at the scene itself, plus the moment that you've captured. In other words, you did capture it, you know that you've pressed the button and everything was okay. And you've seen on the viewfinder that the image is good. You don't look at the detail because it's in the viewfinder. I specifically don't look at any of my images during the trip, so I don't start up a laptop and look at images at all. For this very specific reason, I like to come back to remove some of the emotions or most of the emotions in the shot and then get back and be surprised. So the second time you get back into the studio, you are surprised by the images you see, and you would select them and you would do the editing of that specific image. The third thing that comes into play is if you start doing fine art wildlife photography, you pre-visage or visualize specific images. So you can go out and in a split second you can realize that there's an image that you just captured, but as a composite it'll look better, and you play back your memory and you know that there's a cloudscape that you've taken years before that had a very bad foreground interest, and if you merge the two, it is at the same place, it is a very similar lit image. The composite will stand out as a massive fine art image. I must just say that happens about 10 times in my lifetime so far, about maybe 5 times that you could visualize a composite and produce it. If it's not a composite, a normal straight image, then you go in and you would edit it and maybe do the saturation, do the crop and do the levels, and that is it. So you basically work on what the camera has done. The camera has pressed the button. You've seen the image, but every camera, like I've said before, has got a different color meter, it's got different hues and different characters. So to me, just pressing the button, getting the image as it is and handing it in is not really art at all. It's the image that's been created by the camera. And in wildlife photography, it's even worse for a photographer because the subject produces the interest of the image. So there's no really real art in. So I like to go into the fine art later on and just to squeeze all those talents and all those creativity out of the image. And you can only do that by going into the fine art genre. In other words, moving away from reality into this surreal world where you leave a lot of the image open to interpretation by the individual viewers. It's so coincidentally so that it falls within the bracket that people pay the most money for. It is better for collectibles if you start playing around with colors and effects. What I'm doing now is revisiting images that, this is 2018, I've done stuff from 2015, and I think some far back as 2011 on this specific series or this playlist. This specific images is of 2018, and I'll go through the images. And what I'm going to do is I'm not just going to take the best images and edit them. I'm going to go through the film strip. In this film strips, we've had images that was been taken out, selected and tweaked a little bit in the editing suite, where I visualized a composite. I've given it to artists to work on the specialized editing for me, so I understand and I know his capacity as well. So when I do visualize a creative image, then I must bear in mind the talent and the skill of the editor afterwards. The interesting thing that I've seen is if you revisit after many years and you've selected images and you've grown as a photographer, specifically into the fine art section or genre, then images that appear to be quite plain can be relived and revitalized by textures and certain things like vignetting and dew colors, black and white, and so on. So the surprising thing is I started last month to go through the old images, and now there's new plugins on the market. So your photographs will never die. They stay alive. There will be image that 20 years from now, there's a specific effect that plugins have, and that specific image will work. I've discovered probably more than 15, 20, 30 images already just by going through one specific trip of many years ago. So this one, we're going to go in. I'm going to go through the film strip, not into everyone. Select the one that I think is good, tell you a bit of the story, what happened over there, and then touch on the plugin, and then see how creative one can get if you revisit the images. So, like I said, this is, as you can see over there, it's 2018, the 23rd. It is done with a 200 to 400 lens, f4. And this specific one, film strip started, and it was also taken with the D810. This is just the JPEGs to work through easy. On bridge, I'm going to go through on bridge, click on the one and just enlarge it so that you can see better, and then re-click it to go to the film strip so you can glance with me over. I won't comment about everything, maybe just the story and which images I think is good to work or to use a plugin, and then I'll shoot over to the plugin to show you the effect of the fine art of the images that were selected. Bocello, the male leopard, we saw him on the side of the road walking right next to the vehicle. You can see beautiful specimen, walking on the right-hand side of the Nosop River. And here you can see already on this side of the road, he looks to a spot across the road, probably about 200 meters from here. He already sees something that we haven't seen. We just look at him, but here I can clearly see now for the first time that he's actually seeing something, and it's on the spot that he caught the thing. He just looks at us. Good lighting. We used this to edit. Quite a good composite that you can do if you cut this out. And just over there, he's back on track. You can see he's clearly got his eyes still across the road. He wants to cross the road because we're in the road. Beautiful image as well. I think I shall be able to work this image as well. And then he gets to this grass over here. And then that's my image. I was in another vehicle. Ours was towards the right of the vehicle over here. So I left it for them. He was closer to the frontal area of the leopard. But let me open Hardest' file. So here you can see he's starting to crawl, going right down, because right behind this bush he's seen a jackal that we haven't even seen. He looked from this side across the road right through here, and he could see the movement of the jackal, most probably right over there through the branches. He went right down. There's the jackal. Jackal goes right up to the jackal because he loves killing jackal and eating jackal. And over there is the first time the jackal sees it. It's a bit far. How does it? The 300mm lens. It's a bit far. The light is a bit harsh, and that was the one that he cropped. The next image where the leopard went for the cheetah. So this one could be worked. It's not because it was cropped a lot. There's a lot of effect on it as well. But to show the subject as clear as possible, that's what had to be done. So sometimes there are action shots like this that you can do. It's not really a winning shot. It's a very interest because of the action of the subject. But that's with regards to that. This is a lion, a male lion, that walked all along to come and drink water. Let's go through some of the big ones. So he looks, the eyes a bit closed, but full on frontal. good posture, good sunlight on the one side, but the eyes are a bit closed because the sun's shining right into the eye. He sees something in the grass. What we want over here is we're looking for eye contact. Here he comes down to drink. Beautiful specimen. Look how the eyes lights up in this image, and that's what you want. I mean, you can clearly see this lion is attentive, and he doesn't like us sitting on the other side of the water. He's looking towards cars. There is a good eye contact shot. There, you can clearly see the eyes towards the back. He's not comfortable, but he keeps his eyes on us. The wind's blowing towards the right. We're looking for a composition with the mane specifically there. He starts moving, put his head towards the side where the wind's blowing, and his mane's also blowing that way, but the paw's been cut off there. And there's a shot where everything works out, the direction of the mane, the direction of the grass towards the right, and you can see he's sitting in the wind, and it's a very different sort of posture. His body facing with the mane towards us, and the head's turned 45 degrees, and you can clearly see he's seeing, or his attention is on something specific over there. I will not use, I'm going to do the same as with another shot. Let's get to him drinking again and see where he looks straight into the eyes, or our eyes. And there's one that he looks straight into us. Let's pick that picture and see what, I haven't used this one as a color image anywhere, but if we just get some of the dead space, and I just make a square crop it over there, just get some of the dead space. Look at the eye contact of that line. Some would say that the grass over at the back here is a bit distracting, although it's relatively smooth and it just accentuates the wind on the mane on the grass as well. So I'll take a black and white plugin. We can do the black and white edit. I'll show you now, but once again, I haven't used this shot, so I want to select images that I haven't taken in 2018 and actually edited and showed. So there's the basic black and white, but look at the different renditions that one gets without you editing. It is at the press of a button. That's called a high structure one. It's quite good, but I specifically edited this or cropped this image because that's what I want. I want a black and white image that's got vignetting in, because it takes some of that attention and it puts that focus straight onto that line. I'll accept that. It's got eyes looking straight at me. It's got a bit of reflection at the bottom. And I want to make an artistic image of an image, color image that I wouldn't have displayed most probably, or put on social media, or actually printed. What I want to do with this is the eyes are standing out, but let's say we want that eyes to just, because what the plugin has done is taken some of that light out of the eye, and what I can do is also make the background image black and white, push the yellows a bit, and then go back to that image, do a layer mask, and then all I want to do is no editing because I've taken the plugin. All I want to do is get through and put a little bit of light back into the eyes, the natural eye, and there you got it. A black and white image, artistic image that I'll display, and I'll frame with an artistic frame at any time. So that's the one plugin. Right, so let's go on. So that's some more images. That gives you an idea what to do with a plugin. There's another one from a different angle. And then we get to the jackal. Well, let's see how many we've got to the jackal. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 images of the jackal. All 6 or 7 is usable. It's not like normal. I haven't taken an image or selected image to actually display of a jackal, I think ever besides the jackal that's been caught by the leopard. So this jackal has got a very nice posture. It's very funny because it's also in the end of January, and it looks like he's chill outside because that's how they curl up in winter. So this image of the jackal, once again, I wouldn't display this image. Is something wrong with it? Although the posture is nice, it's very relaxed, it's calm, it's clean red hair. This one is a bit better. There's more light on it, and the eyes is open. So I could do that, but there's a lot of distracting grasses at the back, although not massively distractive. I'll definitely use that with a plugin. I wouldn't do it myself. This one is just exactly the same image with closed eyes. But this one here is my favorite of the lot. It's a nice posture. It covers the whole, it's right, zoomed right in. it tells you this is a black-backed jackal or rooi jackal, so the red is accentuated of the rooi jackals in Afrikaans. It's a nice posture, same posture, but the eyes are closed and the glance again. That one is quite attentive, but gone. So once again in this, let's take the image with the eyes open and we go through straight to Photoshop. I mean, you can see that this is a black-backed jackal, and of course the focus is straight on the head here. The hair is very sharp, and the eye and the tail and so on. There it's a bit out of focus at the back where it should be. So all we do is over here, I would have gone in the normal basic edit just to fix it, to look at it, just get the levels. The levels okay. Just you can get a bit more red of the rooi jackals. So I'll just put a little bit of that in, and then some contrast over there. And I like this image. It's something that I haven't taken before. You can see the black back all along coming down this, then it forms a C curve, and there's another C curve, and there's a C curve. So within this image, there's a lot of foundational compositional rules that actually, it seems like just a jackal, but there's a lot of things that work out in this image. The fact that it's very clean around it, if there were shrubs and bushes at the back and in front, it would have distracted it from me. For me, this is very nice. But this is the image, the straightforward image. Wildlife, you can do that. You can do some curves and still play around with it and color it more if you prefer color and some more contrast. But this is the typical Photoshop image. What will happen is if I want to do fine art with it, I will select a black and white plugin because I want to do this in black and white. It is a very simple two-dimensional image, but there's something in the jackal and the energy of the jackal relaxed. It is real close by, so it's allowing me right into its safety space. And there's the straightforward black and white. And you get various, there's a good normal one, high structure, but I've done it for one specific, and that's to get the corners, get some vignetting in the corners and keep it artistic. So to me, this puts the attention even more so on the face and on the eyes. And look how it's vignetting the back there, and it's at the same shape. No distraction between the body and the black, so it still shows the outline of the animal, and that's what I like. So between the two images, the black and white image that's been converted into a fine art image with a creative mount board and framing around it, also maybe white and black, and then a bit more white and then black. This is the image you can sell to any lodge or display anywhere, but it falls into the category of interior decor. If you would use this, you can go dual tone and make it brown and white if you want, and it'll also be good. So that's the jackal that we got. Let's go quickly through that. That's just pigeons. I think the Lanna falcon was hunting them, and the Lanna falcon got one. We were a bit too late in the road, and of course we missed the action, but a lot of other guys get that action. We went out of the park into Elias Larisha's farm, and this is the original camels that his father and they used in the park as the first patrol vehicle. So this is a bloodline of the animals that truly helped to protect the Kgalagadi Transfrontier Park. They're still on the farm. He's kept them, and they're still on the farm the other side of Ascom. So that's just a bit of interesting news, and just to thank this boekies for all the hard work. And grey camel thorns, as always, one of my favorite subjects, and Witgat or shepherd's tree. So that's it for this specific program. See you in the next one.